Hi, my name is Michael Trout, and I would say a serial bootstrapping entrepreneur. And for the last 16 years, I've been living in a space that I have recently defined as a found up. Now, what is a found up? A found up is a founder, like myself, with an idea for a lean startup, bootstrapping a proof of concept or a prototype. Now, there's some key words in here that are very important. A found up basically is that moment when you go aha, and that moment it finishes is when one of two things happens. Either A, some investor says, hey, I like your idea and I'm going to put money into it, or B, you build enough customers that funds it itself and it becomes a self-sustaining startup. At that point, it's an early stage startup. So I'm going to be really ghetto here, and I'm going to like open up a page and try to like show you, right? Show you kind of in, if I can organize this. So basically, think of your ideas here, right? That's your idea. This stage, to get it to this point here at the bottom, this is an early stage startup, okay? If you think of this in a vector like this, and if you think of the difference between here and here is failure percentage, okay? So basically, and if you think of this line down here as time, basically it says that the time it takes you from this idea, yay, to building, to getting it here, the longer it takes is the greater chance of failure. This section right here, that section right there, is a found up. Now, I did my first found up like in 1994 with the Southern Shakespeare Festival, and actually it was a success, and I was hooked. So that's at that point I really became an entrepreneur. And really, what I've been struggling with is, developing what I call the framework to overcome a lot of the challenges. Now, unfortunately, until I patent the framework, I can't really talk about the framework. But what I think the outcome would be is going to be significant. I really believe that the goal here as part of the framework, if I can hide this here, the part of the framework is can I move this ball down to here, right? So can I eliminate this much of the time, right? Instead of it taking on average X amount of time, can I have it? And I believe I can have that by 50%. And not only that, by reducing the time, I'm also in a way reducing the failure rate by providing what's known as a framework. And if you think of a framework as a system of various systems within the framework that basically solve specific problems. And if you're an entrepreneur, you know that there's a lot of specific problems that an early stage startup has, and the framework will basically provide a solution for building your team. It provides a solution for funding. It provides a solution for getting the word out, a host of other things. So all these different systems are combined, right, into what's known as a framework. Now, you may be wondering, and I have a good friend of mine called Joel, and he hasn't talked to me in a while because he knows that I'm patenting this, that why do you patent? Well, there's a couple reasons why I must patent this. And I guess the best way to think of it is actually Mr. Karaoke. And Mr. Karaoke basically developed a mechanical solution, a framework in itself. Think of my framework as the same thing. That basically changed bars into a completely different thing. I mean, before the karaoke, it was a completely different thing. So the framework that I'm developing is actually a franchisable, free franchisable we make our money in a different way, which is very interesting than the traditional franchise way, method that ultimately I believe is going to grow extremely viral, extremely fast over the next 3 years. So the patent really is there to do a couple things. One is to entice investors, because by having a patent, you're much more likely to have an investor. Even if you're not awarded, you've got 3 to 4 years for that patent to go through. And we probably be filing a number of patents. It probably just won't be one because of the extensive nature of the framework. What I call the OI, Open Incubator, OI. So the OI framework is something. There is no Open Incubator, so I'm pioneering, and I have the framework to bring them about. Just like before Mr. Karaoke, there was no karaoke machines. So the last thing I want to do is release the framework without it being patented, and all of a sudden, Y Incubator and all these other folks that have incubators go, wow, Mike, great framework, thank you, and go crazy with themselves, right? So at least if I patent it, there's a thing that, yeah, they could try to steal it, and then we can fight them in court, and they risk basically the outcome being, hey, you have it. Now, I do have a vision for API. I do have a vision for licensing this framework out. I have I'm not trying to kind of control it or anything else. I'm just protecting the interests of 3 years worth of research and stuff. So I hope you found this video, of interest. I'm basically now divvying up the world. I just gave away Asia to a person who used to work for Microsoft Education. He was the head of Microsoft Education. Very dear friend of mine. So I offered him India, and he says, you know what, Mike, I want Asia. And I said, fine, you can have Asia. So if you're an entrepreneur, and since it's not going to cost you anything for the franchise up front, okay, actually it's not going to cost you pretty much anything in the back end either. The world's open. Now, there are going to be some caveats. For example, you've got to get your first, incubator going within a month, and so on and so on and so on. And there's a lot of other, caveats. It's going to be a fun time for open incubators. You're going to see open incubators just sprouting up everywhere. Florida, I've got commitments to. Pennsylvania, I have commitments to. I just put out the commitment to Texas. So if you're an entrepreneur and you see this and you're interested, all you need to do is send me an email, say, Mike, I'm interested, and let me know. So you can contact me at mtrout at foundups.com. And we also have teenfoundups.com, which is going to roll out at the same time, which is going to also be very interesting. All right, well, thank you very much. My name is Michael Trout. I am the founder and the visionary and the crazy guy behind the Open Incubator project that FoundUps is doing, and I hope that what I've said is of great interest to you and that you'll be part of it. Thank you very much.